to Soul Mechanics. We are finally concluding our Greta Thunberg bonanza.
Epic Greta Thunberg bonanza. It's
finally gonna be over.
It's top shelf Greta Thunberg extravaganza.
Do you think that we're like beating this dead horse? I feel like we really are beating this dead horse.
Yeah, but I mean, I think we get to hammer it home here that we're not actually talking about Greta Thunberg. We're gonna put her to bed here, and we're addressing the state of our psychological environment and the crisis that it does affect existence.
In one way, there's plenty more ways.
And mind you, I should like to note that Sweetie Cheeks, it's beautiful. She's got a suit on. She looks amazing. She's stunning, most beautiful, most wonderful. But she's got this what looks like maybe like an LGBT flag on her leg. It's awfully SJW.
Like I said, I am in favor of anyone voluntarily fucking anyone else that voluntarily fucks them back.
Yes.
That's my position.
We are not in favor of people who are voluntarily fucking people who do not consent.
Boom. That's all I care about, is that it's voluntary. I don't care who you fuck.
Also, I should like to issue a brief notice to a certain person, I suppose you could say, in a manner of speaking, sort of an extended brother-in-law by the name of Kevin. Should I ever run across you, I'm gonna fuck you up, dude. I'll beat your motherfucking ass into the dirt. You better watch your shit. You're in fucking trouble. Sorry. Alright. So, we are, in this one, going to speak to Thunberg's, interview on the motherfucking Daily Show. I have not seen this. We have not watched this. Well, she watched it.
A little bit
I have not seen it.
So,
again, as usual, this is our spontaneous response to this.
She's doing the Trevor Noah interview from the Daily Show. What's that?
We have a lot of space on top of us.
Well, also, Goku has like this crazy glare, and it's kind of bothering me a little bit.
By the way, the Kakarot is representative of the disciplinary factor of the channel, that we have these cool rules. You cannot see them, but they're cool little rules and such.
They're not rules.
They're
ways,
virtues. They're virtues. Virtues of a warrior. Rectitude, courage, benevolence, politeness / propriety, honesty / sincerity. I like that, sincerity. Honor, loyalty, keys to health. Rational nutrition, sensible exercise, efficient rest, proper hygiene, positive attitude, states of mind, Zanshin, alertness and awareness, Mushin, clear mind, and Furoshin, emotional balance.
Unagi.
So that's our we're trying to promote the discipline of lucidity, which is flexibility, responsibility,
Goku's on
visibility.
On top of that shit.
His name is Kakarot.
I like Goku.
I don't care.
That's his name his grandpa gave him.
I'm not obligated to agree with you. In fact, Cheeks and I still have a debate upcoming where I've challenged her to a debate as regards the, I believe it was the issue of
I don't remember.
Overpopulation, the motherfucking Georgia Guidestones.
You said you changed your mind and agreed with me after that.
Don't tell them that. We're not supposed to.
Okay. Sorry.
This is a showmanship. Jesus Christ, Cheeks.
I ruined it. Spoiler alert!
Okay, so let's get to this motherfucking interview.
Alright. Let's see here. Greta Thunberg inspiring others to take a stand against climate change. The Daily Show. And I think
Welcome to the Daily Show.
Thank you so much.
And welcome.
Say what?
I thought that I'd already watched a couple minutes of it, but no, this is from the beginning.
I reset it.
Yeah,
Alright, this is from the very beginning.
It's about 8 minutes.
To New York City, you came here on a zero emissions boat.
That was owned by the
Part of
Rothschilds,
me
by the
thinks
way.
that's because you love the climate. The other part of me wonders if that's just your Viking heritage.
Maybe it is.
It might be.
Yeah.
Tell me why you did that. Why didn't you fly to New York City to come and, speak at the UN and inspire people to move forward in the climate change movement?
I did it because I have, since a few years, stopped flying because of the enormous impact aviation has on the climate.
Whoa, let me
individually.
stop you there.
Alright, I was gonna tell you to stop it. So, I'm not sure what I think about that statement. Do you think she's just kind of being,
Virtue signal?
like, being facetious a little bit and just kind of, I don't know. I mean, not that that's, like, a negative thing. I commend her on her principles or whatever, but, like, it's just kind of patronizing and
Yeah, it's
pandering.
kind of putting down.
Like, if you fly,
people, I mean,
you're
but hey, if
bad.
if it stops people from doing that, like, you'll put them down and look down on them, but nobody's looking up at Greta Thunberg because she has no fucking life experience,
No.
and she's Swedish. And
It's
by the
not
way,
effective.
who the fuck is that guy?
Trevor?
Trevor. Who
He's
the
great.
fuck? What
That's
happened
Trevor
to
Noah.
my G? I had motherfucking Greg.
No, John Stewart.
No, Greg something.
I don't know, but it's been quite a long time since Trevor Noah took over the Daily Show. Like, where have you been living under a rock?
I don't know that I like him. I don't trust this guy.
Shame on you. Trevor's great.
He stole the Daily Show from Greg.
No, he was offered it, and his name is not Greg, it's John Stewart.
John Stewart's the other one afterwards. Greg.
Greg who?
I don't know, he was the original host of the Daily Show. And then we had Jon Stewart, and now we got this fucking guy who's just lying through his teeth.
I did not know of Greg. You shut your mouth about Trevor. He's great. I happen to like Trevor.
She's gone ahead and decided on our behalf that we like this Trevor.
Trevor. Just trust me on this one. Trevor's cool.
Well, he's got 5.65 million subscribers. Pretty heavyweight there, but that's going to be the Daily
Show. Humongous show, yeah.
The Daily Show with Trevor Noah.
Don't say it like that.
Right.
His name is Trevor Noah.
Which, by the way, and I'll put a link for this too, The Art of Asking TED Talk by Amanda fucking Palmer, bitches. That's fucking awesome. Check that out.
It popped up in our suggested.
Yeah,
and we will be watching that.
We will be watching that for certain.
Sure. That's awesome.
She is just top shelf.
Anyway, so the airplane thing. I think it's being a little facetious. I think that...
For sure.
And, you know, that's a bit much. Like, I think it makes sense. It's commendable. It's obviously, you know, it's
in ways.
It's reasonable and logical, but I guess it wouldn't... Well, I guess it's not reasonable
but, I mean,
for everybody. Some people have to fly, like... You know, it's just one of those things.
It's a necessary evil now that people are, you know, the world is so connected. We're all over the place. But
then again, it's not, the problem isn't with any one mode. You know, the problem isn't with cars. It's with the issue that we have been stuck in this weird thing where we can't invent more, you know, hydroelectric or electric cars, stuff like that. We're stunted in a way.
We're stunted in our psychological evolution. We're stunted in our ability to adapt and to develop appropriately. We're just like...
It would be a simple thing to invent airplanes and cars and trains and all these things that were not harmful if they were running 24/7, moving people all about the planet. Like, it would be an easy thing. There's like kids, you know, in their garages, like high school kids in their garages inventing shit like this, but for some reason it always gets, like, you know, stamped down.
We're not allowed to do that because, I mean, and the people, if anybody who has any say in this issue or understands or is any way involved, watches this at some point by chance, which I'm going to go ahead and make that happen too, you don't seem to grasp the concept that if you may be making money off of, like, oil, you might be making money off of whatever reserves you're using from the planet, fossil fuels, but do you not think that that's there for a reason?
It should be obsolete by now. I mean,
that's the point on your end. It should very well be obsolete. We should be moving forward, working on something that's more appropriately, you know, something that we can make fuels that are even beneficial to the environment. Right. But these fuels, these fossil fuels, you don't think that there's a reason they're there in the planet? Like, you don't think that maybe if you
they serve some other purpose.
if you stole all of the fucking grease out of the bearings in my hub, that my wheel might stop turning?
Yeah, that makes sense. That they serve some kind of other, you know, planetary purpose. The thing that I thought was so funny that I just said they should be obsolete. You hear people, and I'm absolutely one of them, complained about planned obsolescence and how things are made to become obsolete shortly thereafter, so that you have to keep buying them over and over again. So what a weird duality of things that should be obsolete but aren't, and things that could last forever and yet they are obsolete in a year's time. You know what I mean? Like different objects and things
quality
like
over
that.
quantity,
That's so
or
funny.
quantity over quality kind of thing.
Yeah, the quality-quantity equation, they don't have to follow each other, you know, up or down. I think that you can have both, like in certain, you know, industries or however you
I'm
want to put it.
wondering what the people who make these decisions are thinking.
They're thinking that
like,
it's the profit motive. There's a thing that came out years ago when Stephen Greer made the documentary, is that the Sirius documentary? Where there's a short part in that documentary where he talks about this guy that invented some kind of crazy efficient like energy thing, and then shortly thereafter he was assassinated at like a Cracker Barrel or something. Anyway, but the thing came up that there's actually, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong about this, I don't know, but there's like a federal policy in place that has a limit to how efficient different types of things can be. Like if they go above this efficiency marker, then they have to be tossed.
wow.
Because they're too efficient, and you would have to, you know what I mean? Like
Yes,
you
yeah.
wouldn't
Right.
be paying for it over and
I
over
get
and
it.
over again. And so there's like a policy. I think there's like a policy with the patent people and the federal, you know, government that their things can't be
Right.
more than like, I don't know, 33% efficient. I think it was a third.
Do you
I
think,
could be totally
I
wrong
mean,
about
and
this.
this is something that we had spoken to on the True Life Stories, which, by the way, I'll give links to everything we mentioned. We are, in fact, going to be citing sources and providing leads to information in this one. If you happen to catch this video early on, before I've added the links and shit in the description, it will be there. It's gonna take me a little while to get all that shit together, because obviously we don't know what we're gonna be talking about yet. But whatever we decide, we'll be citing
Sirius
links to
documentary
information.
because it's great.
Stephen Greer, he's the UFO guy, right?
Yeah, but he also talks a lot about the military industrial complex and different subjects that all kind of, you know, they kind of go together in a certain way, but it's all symptoms of a grander disease.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
and that's what we're talking about.
Exactly.
To get back to the initial concept that we would have raised in one of the first videos, this is an addiction problem, and I think it's an addiction complex, really. Everything's becoming this complex. Everything's becoming a fucking mindset paradigm, stick to your guns, stuck in your ways complex. And we can understand, obviously, you feeling the need to serve this addiction, but this is an addiction where it comes to, and who knows what the addiction is. It's not necessarily, it doesn't seem like money, like I was saying, and we spoke to in the True Life Stories live stream, where we're trying to figure out what the corrupted value in currency is, which we're going to be doing the currency videos fairly soon. We're going to be doing actual Catalyst event videos.
That's an interesting subject.
But which, by the way, props to Anita Dunn. I have her doing the researching the etymology on that. She's an expert with that shit. We have Casey Ward on the case. Everybody, we're going to be working hard on that one. But we don't know what the corrupted value in currency is, like the greed factor. Where does it come from? Is it an addiction to? Is it an addiction to greed itself, or to profit? An addiction to be profiting, because you're going to reach a place, and these people reach it relatively quickly, where you no longer require it. You know, you have more money than you could ever need.
Right, then you don't have enough time in your in your whole life to spend.
And what are they doing?
Crazy amounts of money. And
what are they doing? If you are doing that, what are you doing? Why are you hoarding all that money? You're going to give it to your family so that they can live on and be prosperous, because they're not going to live on and be prosperous
if all of the water is poison and you can't breathe and there's CO2.
It's like, where the fuck are you going with that? You're investing long term in eliminating the long-term investments.
Yeah, that's a weird one. It does seem
It's
to kind
warped.
of go beyond just the money aspect. It does seem to
Yeah,
kind of...
there's some
it passes
addiction
that a
there
little bit,
that
yeah.
is, and ultimately all addiction is going to be feeding progress. That's the idea, is you want to be progressing, or for most addicts you want to be returning to whatever it was that you had experienced in the first place, as they say, kind of chasing the dragon, where
Oh, yeah.
you have an experience with the drug and then you want to get that experience back,
Right.
so you keep trying and trying and trying.
But you can't because your body's built up a tolerance.
Right,
yeah.
and the idea there, the general function of it with addiction itself, this is not what people necessarily decide or even discern. This is something that's inherent in addiction itself, is that you have this withdrawal from it when you don't receive it. So you're essentially set back, which allows for you to progress when you have the drug back. So you go through a withdrawal, then you get the drug in your system, and you essentially feel as though you're progressing because you've achieved something, you've attained something. It's a cheap, easy out method of achieving progress without actually accomplishing anything. That's inherent in the function of it. So just keep
I feel
that
like
in
that
mind.
has to be kind of like a brain thing, because I remember an interview with the guy, I wish I could remember his name, it's John something. He wrote the Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus book years ago. And he's a very interesting guy, actually. And I was listening to an interview with him, oh God, such a long time ago. And it was so fascinating how he pinpointed the exact, like, it's crazy, the exact, like, effects of specific hormones and the way that men and women deal with stress and conflict in a different way because they have different, like, hormones in their brain that are affecting different sides of the brain. Like, obviously, you know, everybody knows, you know, women in this conflict or in a struggle or anxiety always would, like, connect with other women, right? That's like that's a coping mechanism. It's a really good way for them to feel the comfort and relief from any kind of anxiety in a very general sense. But how men, and I love how he explained it, if there's like a problem or an issue or some kind of conflict, that the most effective, and I'm speaking chemically on the brain, the most effective way to cope and deal with any kind of problem or conflict is to accomplish a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It could be the smallest thing, or it could be some kind of grand invention or some kind of huge thing, but that it affects the brain in such a way, a man's brain, that it actually boosts testosterone because of the endorphins.
So this is specifically a man's brain
it
that's
is
affecting
very-
in this way?
Yes, that
Huh.
if you accomplish something, and he used this, like, kind of analogy, well, I guess it's literal, but this example of, like, a guy who, you know, had a bad day at work and is stressed out, and then goes to his little, like, workshop in the garage and, like, builds some shit, and then all of a sudden, boom, your endorphins, boom, that causes your testosterone to boost, boom, you feel way better, and you're able to communicate and connect with other people better, and you're more enthusiastic, and it's like this whole domino effect of just because you accomplished a thing. And it just it could be the most simple thing, like you put one screw in a fucking, you know, in an engine or whatever the hell, you know, the old-timey male gender role kind of thing. I feel like it could be anything, but that's, for some reason, the example that popped into my head, which I'm embarrassed to say, but it could be the littlest thing.
Hey, that's going to be speaking to what we have going on as regards feminism now, and you know, the mentality that males are running the show, that men are behind everything, and I'm not going to dig too deep in that here, because I actually want to do a video particularly on feminism soon, but It's the idea that men are running the world, that it's a man's world, and then this is going to be the male mentality, is this, as I stated, like an addiction complex, wherein
seeking that accomplishment.
All addiction is any addiction is essentially, fundamentally, an addiction to progress, and it's a fucking catch-22 because you're addicted to progress, but you're stunted and unable to progress beyond the point that you're at because you're constantly chasing the same spot, trying to get back to here,
and then
back to
rewinding
here,
yourself
back to
and
here,
going again.
and we never make it forward, and we're fixed on these ridiculously fucking idiotic concepts like everything should be running on fossil fuels, and we're gonna, you know, strip the planet of its resources for the sake of
A few, very few people getting super rich,
and hoarding everything and keeping everybody else down. And I mean, they spoke to the thing about Thunberg came on that boat, the zero emissions boat that you just said.
That's another one we didn't get to
Rothschild
that
thing.
one yet. It's a conspiracy.
Yeah, it's a
I love it.
conspiracy for sure, though.
You know, not only is she younger than us,
She's younger than us,
she also doesn't have any life experience.
but she somehow made it on the Rothschild's boat.
I don't know. I'm gonna
She was
say that
placed on that
we
boat
don't
by the
know
Rothschild.
that.
The Rothschild.
She's a puppet. Someone is behind her,
Right,
masterminding
I
this
can
whole
tell you guys.
thing.
I can tell you guys. Point of fact. This is very serious. I'm not bullshitting. This is absolute fucking truth. All honesty. I don't know the first fucking thing about the Rothschilds or why we think that they're a conspiracy family or whatever it is that we're thinking they are. I guess like maybe, you know, Illuminati or some such shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, who are the fucking Rothschilds? Why do we give a shit? Because they're
So
super
rich
rich?
family.
Because they're just like super rich and
Well,
we're
no,
jealous of
because
them?
it's more than that, and certain. I'm sure you could dig around and find specific incidences of, you know, things and other people being influenced, and then that regards, you know, the government and control and other people, blah blah blah. Incidences.
That's called incidents.
Incidents.
Genius.
I don't know.
You do know.
Whatever. Fuck you. Anyway, I'm sure you can narrow it down and find specific incidents. But generally, I think that the issue people have is that, like, with any, it's like a big mega corporation, except it's a family instead of, but it is still like a type of a company or a corporation. But the fact that there's so much money there implies that they could potentially have the power to influence, you know, the government and things that regulate the way that we live every day. The lower people, the bottom of the pyramid. So it's freaky.
Feeders.
It's a freaky thing to think that, like, oh, this, you know, a handful of 2 or 3 or 4 guys or people have so much money that they could literally just make a phone call and all of a sudden, boom,
right.
Like, everything for us is different. People are going to jail for marijuana, like, you know what I mean? Like, the most ridiculous shit could just happen because of a dumb phone call by
a few things
some
that
rich
I'd like
guys.
to note there, man, is like, A, who out there is, you know, amongst within this race of who has the most money, who's the wealthiest, and thereby the most capable. You know, you guys don't value your own influence, do you? Like your realistic influence, your considerations as regards your personality and how people relate to you. You're allowing for money to factor in above your own persona. It's like, is that what you're going for? Do you want to be that? Like your personal value is determined by how much money you have, and we're gonna let currency is gonna run the show for us. Money is what makes all the decisions.
But there's shades of gray, like Bill and Melinda Gates do like hella charities and donate a lot of their money to different causes all around the world. Like, there's shades of gray.
Yeah, well, I mean, people use money for good things, certainly.
Yeah,
wealthy
absolutely.
people use money for good things, but what I'm saying here is, do you really care so little for your self-consideration that we should be valuing money above ourselves?
I think a lot of people feel that way. I mean, look at the state of things. Of course, there's many
distracted.
people.
It's very, very distracted from the reality of the situation, which is that you effectively are worthless. relative to this money.
Yeah, it's a sad reality, but I think that we may laugh about people with conspiracy theories about Greta being on this boat or whatever that was once owned by a Rothschild guy somewhere, sometime. But that's like an actual legal term that's basically used to define when two or more people are conspiring and, in the destruction of another group or a person or whatever it may be. Like, that's an actual real thing. I'm sure it does happen, but
It happens all the time.
it can't
And in
just be
fact, I
everything.
single-handedly launched a conspiracy against Sweetie Cheeks that she doesn't know about yet.
What?
Yeah.
Did you put saran wrap on my toilet seat?
Well, not against you, with you. You're in it. You don't know you're a part of it yet.
Oh no.
So here, let's continue with this interview. Get on the ball here and get this fucking taken care of. We need to put Greta Thunberg
Alright,
to
yes.
bed.
Sorry. Airplane thing.
And just to make a stand, and I am one of the very few people in the world who can actually do such a trip, so I thought, why not?
Wow.
Oh, I get it. If you can, then if you have the
it's
means,
odd, though.
if
How
you
did
have the
she-
means, then go for it.
How did she manage to become one of the only few people in the world who can do this?
See, in that respect, I hate to admit, but in that respect, particularly, we didn't really do our homework. I don't know if she has like a wealthy family or if her family knows people or whatever her particular situation. That's kind of beside the point. The point is that if you have the means,
Yeah.
then awesome.
But
Then
another
do
point,
it. Go for
For
it.
people that are
Whatever.
watching, comments, who knows what about the Rothschilds and why? What's up with the Rothschilds? B, how did Greta Thunberg get in this position? What is, we don't, reality checks, we don't really look into anything that we're responding to. We just respond to it spontaneously.
Yeah,
so
that's
this
kind
is
of
our,
the point. That's kind
yeah,
of the
this
point.
is our response to what we see here.
Now, I would be curious to know. I mean, her Wikipedia doesn't really, I don't think, say anything about it. The only kind of theory that we have is that it's some kind of conspiracy, but I'm
Right.
sure it's simpler than that. I mean, you never know.
I think that she did that thing where she sat in the park and somehow she got a bunch of people watching her and she got just
Yeah,
boosted. She took control. She has a heavy influence because she fucking did something astounding. That's a potentiality.
Anybody could
People
do
are allowed
that.
to
I
do
mean,
astounding things. People are allowed to
that's
be
another-
extraordinary.
That's another good point, I think, is that if she were, a 40-year-old woman that somehow gained that attention by making her poster and sitting outside of, whatever in Switzerland, or in Sweden, it could have been anyone at any age that would have, that could have potentially garnered such an attention to catch the eye and become like a viral thing. She's not viral because she's 17. She's viral because of what she was doing, and it really could be anyone of any age that
And
was doing the
because
same thing.
because
that
she
was
did
doing.
it at her age, that's what makes it so fucking impressive, especially with what we're calling disabilities that she has. The girl is extraordinary. She did something amazing at just the right time in just the right place.
And happened to get some
happened to garner the
attention,
attention that was...
and that snowballed into other things and kind of, became a viral sensation.
Yeah, packed together what became this powerhouse package of
Sensation.
environmental awareness.
Yeah.
It's just what we're trying to get here, but everybody is seeing the fucking aspects, looking at her like she's too young, she has no life experience, blah 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 blah, conspiracy theory, fucking Rothschild boat, like any fucking thing to
So
place your
funny.
attention on other than maybe
What's
she has a
actually,
point.
yeah, what is actually coming out of her mouth. That seems to be the last thing on the list.
And honestly,
of
I'm going to
when-
go ahead and say, for you people out there that might be watching that are seeing these aspects and failing to see the reality behind them, what she's presenting, what's your fucking problem? Like, how do you not get this? You really come across to people who are seeing the reality as somehow dumbfounded. Like,
It is weird.
How do you not comprehend that there's a reason she's telling you the things she is?
the priorities are all fucked up. The priorities are top of the list. Well, how many years has she been here? Like, it's so, when the priority last thing on the list is what's actually being communicated from her, that's the last thing on the list of what people talk about when she comes up, which is so ridiculous.
It's heavily disrespectful for you guys to consider anything other than what she is in fact actually saying.
Yeah, I don't see how anything else matters.
Where the fuck do you get off to having such earnest disrespect for this young lady's words to just disregard them entirely and even vehemently stand in opposition to them?
Oh, and like
because it's some fucking stupid distraction.
Right, get actually angry. Like, that's one that seriously, it makes me laugh. I can't. Oh, it's so funny. Like, and it's always like older guys too. I'm sorry, but it is.
They're
like,
threatened.
it's always older guys.
Threatened by a young, strong female persona.
Yeah, it isn't like a thing where they're just like, well, she's too young, and that. No, they're like, she's too young. Like, it comes across as like a very pissed off kind of thing where it's like, ugh, like it's making people mad, which I think is amazing, and I love it.
Right, and the Sky News Australia guy, who's even going to go so far as to deflect his anger and suggest that, well, he's fighting for her because she's being abused.
Yeah, right. Because he cares.
Get fucking real, dude.
He cares so much. What a good guy.
You are one of two things, sir. You are a fraud, or you're an imbecile.
He's a great guy.
Now, but, also, oh man, I lost it. Never mind. Let's continue with the interview. Sorry.
I mean, I know I wouldn't do that as a kid, and I wouldn't do it now. But what is inspiring is your determination, and what's inspiring is that it doesn't just affect other young people. It started to affect older generations in Sweden, in Germany. People are starting to call it the Greta effect, where people are taking more trains. Since you started this movement, they've said they feel ashamed to fly unnecessarily in Europe.
They feel ashamed to fly. That's fucking brilliant. Okay, that's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, for sure, making the people feel ashamed, it's kind of a betrayal in a manner of speaking, but
in this particular very specific situation, I feel like that's a cool thing, because obviously if you didn't have the means to find some other way to, then you couldn't. But if you do, like I said earlier, if you have the means, then why not? Go for it. Do something that's maybe a little bit more environmentally conscious. Go for it.
She looks awesome. She looks so cool.
Anyway, if you have the means, I feel like that's great. If you don't, you really have no choice. You got to do what you got to do. But I remember once hearing somebody. Oh my God! It was a guy in that stupid radio show. In a different situation, they were talking about